Alright, let's see if he comes up with something we haven't already seen. First choice is Battleballs. It's not called that. I am CouchQ. By the way, I've tried to pick out some obscure games from my top lists that I've put out previously. So cherry-picked some off-the-wall stuff that I haven't really seen in a lot of lists. This is Battle Planet. Roguelike with brilliant structure, cool unlockable characters, a great split screen, Super Mario Galaxy style, spherical map design. There is quite a lot to love here, and it is called Battle Planets, plural. There's 2 balls. Streets of Rage, quite an adorable little sort of 8 to 16-bit side-scrolling beat-em-up that's in the same vein as Streets of Rage or River City Girls, anything else like that, but it's just got some cool nuances, some great special moves, up to 4 people involved. It's got a great hand-drawn vibe and a really cool roster of characters to choose from. This game's quite an adventure, very cheap, and I think a bit below the radar. It's also not as hard as those aforementioned games, but it is quite macabre. There is a lot of blood, so it might not be one for the kids, but if you really love a side-scrolling beat-em-up, this might be one to dig out. Available on most systems also. So next up, Hero has kind of broken my heart a little bit. I don't know what's going on. It's got a DRM in it, and the old Dubai account won't let me play on it. So I go in on the UK, and there's still issues. So feed me back if you are still playing this, or if you can get it working. It's actually a cracking ARPG. Beautiful graphics, very detailed upgrade system, combined with a really cool dynamic split when it comes to you two walking off the screen. It will totally deal with it. You're on your own adventure, and I think the DRM issue is with it always being online and having to sort of talk to servers, because it has this strange, almost Dark Souls, someone can come in, randoms can just help you, can resurrect people within map. Put together a local co-op ARPG list after Diablo 4 came out, and this would have made it by a square mile, but because of this server thing, I couldn't include it. Super Mutant Alien Assault, and I need to double check that. I am timestamping all these. This is excellent retro fun. Putting you trapped in a room, you've got specials everywhere, you start upgrading your guns. It has got a roguelike element, giving unlocks on each death. But wow, the speed, the noise, and the look of this game is like nothing else. Also viciously timed, and the controls have got a Smash Brothers like precision on them. You get really confident with jumping around, and some of the specials really turn the game around, and the music's like off the wall. Totally missed this one. I don't see it spoken about enough, and I have so much fun with it still. Bat Heroes is a bit of a strange one. I don't really like puzzlers. I avoid them. This is a full-blown sort of hardcore arcade platformer with some combined puzzles that dovetailed in with the game model. It's very addictive. All of the arenas are great. It leads up to boss fights. It's the most simple but satisfying game design I've had the pleasure in playing in a long time.
You just go straight down, wait down here.
It's to play with my daughter Kez. It's proper fun for the whole family, this one, and it is difficult if you want it to be. All the levels are selected passively, you can redo stuff. Amazing things happen in Flat Heroes.
Yay!
Oh my god!
Right, it's time for Goner 2. Wow, Goner 2 is tough, man. I'm trying to keep this list as broad as possible with the biggest scope on game type, but most of these sort of gems are hidden up within the sort of roguelike area of indie gaming. This is no exception. Beautiful looks, very strange setup with the levels. You go through pipes to get to other areas, but it's a shooter. It's very difficult. There's permadeath, and there's excellent upgrades everywhere, and I do kind of love this art style. Some of that Dark Souls like recovery from getting things you drop in tough areas, and all of the boss fights are massive and they're scary. It's got this like dark Buddhism angle to it. The music, the soundtrack, everything's pretty good with Goner 2. Obscure, mate, come on. Project Starship X, everyone knows about this. Well, I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it since the year it came out, and it is a roguelike again, but it's a shooter roguelike local co-op, and none of them exist. This is a one-off, available on all systems as well. It's one of my favourite Switch games. It will drive some people mad. It isn't for everyone. That might be one of the reasons it's obscure, is because its noise and its sound are just like a barrage. That's one of the reasons I'm attracted to it. So probably worth a look if you're into the shooter roguelike scene. Okay, I've defo got you on this one, right? Xmorph defense, Xmorph defense, Xmorph defense coup. It's not that complicated. reason this is plugged out is because not only is it local co-op, obviously, but it's made by the people that did Riftbreaker. Riftbreaker's relatively new, I think about 2020, and it's a single player, almost tower defense action ARPG that plays like a real-time strategy. It's a hell of a thing, and I'll put a link in the description, but this isn't too bad either. A lot more tower defense focused, and you've also got a shared map screen and troops coming in. You're basically a bit like Destroy Humans, you're taking out the military all day long. This could have been really bad. They could have not taken out that split. They could have had it on a static singular screen, and you would have been arguing all day long about which way to go. Very autonomous, and there's a reason for that. You're laying down quite a lot of structures, turrets, houses, machines, fences to keep these things away. You can see some of the Riftbreaker DNA in here.
Your support experiencing heavy losses. Jet fighters in the zone, attacking the aliens.
Mushroom Wars 2, huh? What with all them Mushroom Wars Twitch channels out there, this one is definitely under the carpet, and I actually love it. Sticking on that RTS vein, this is a full-blown decision-making, quite slowed versus system. I think you can play a campaign, but most of the fun is in screwing over the other guy. You can see this numbered system. You've got directional specials down at the bottom of the screen there. There's a lot of resource management. You have to move all your troops around. It's hella fun. Is it as good as Comet Crashers 2? Well, that one remains to be debated. Personally, Comet Crash is so strong with me and my friends. This one you have to learn new things. It's not the same structure, and it's certainly not a tower defense by any stretch. This is more like a true battle RTS, so that might favour some people. For some of you, Unrailed might be a complete no-brainer, and it was at the front of a top list I did for I think 2020, and also a top campaigns list I've done, which is in 2 parts, which is just the 100,000 views, so massive thank you to everybody for that. Again, never see it spoken about very often, and it's a hell of a thing this. It's a bit like a plate spinner, I call them, so think Overcooked or Moving Out, where you've got time tasks that are going off all over the shop, and you're just running around trying to stay on top of things. I do like the panic with that, and it evokes communication. Also like a seeded run system and a whole day and night setup and a fire that can take down your whole plan for that day. So this is probably worth a look. Unrailed. Pixel Racers has got to go in. Never have I played such a stellar homage to that 8-bit, 16-bit top-down driving genre that we saw on the Amigas and the Commodores, as well as this game. It's got all of the sort of ease of life, modern aspects to it, like a cool campaign, great AI, and even like mending mechanics, some arcade button bashings in there. Everything is perfect with this. They don't make enough of these. I've spoken about this is the 3rd time, because I did an Arcade Racers video and this featured in a top yearly list, so it's got a healthy presence on the channel, but I just don't see enough people going on about its excellence on the internet. Invisigun, this one very obscure for me, and it's actually an older release. It may even been around from the PlayStation 3 days. You know how I heard about this game? It was on 1UP. Remember that website slash like IGN equivalent that used to be around? I don't know, it was like at the birth of internet gaming journalism before it just turned corporate and untrustworthy. These guys were playing this and I loved watching it, and then it just popped up on the PSN and I was like, wow, I get to play it on the PlayStation 5, and incredible artwork, 4-player PvP, and you can set up a sort of co-op system by fighting bots. So Pixel Junk have got major heritage on PlayStation 3 and that particular network. At the birth of that system, they may have even saved it a bit by giving us amazing games. They had a driving top-down equivalent to this as well, but this is Pixel Junk Shooter, and not to be sniffed at as a brilliant arcade slash puzzler. A big fan of this game and the developers. They did Monsters 2, and it's so great having this on the PlayStation 4 and 5. Really runs impeccably. The head scratching puzzles and the physics with the water and fire and combustibles also feels a bit like level design genius, with all of these traps put in the right place and stuff caving in on you. You have to rescue little hostages that will 9 times out of 10 be at the bottom of some hellish pit. It's our second game featuring a beautiful dynamic split, and this one's a side-scrolling platformer with elements of wave, attack, construction, puzzling, action, RPG. I'm going to go with Aegis as its name, Aegis, something Defenders. It's really good, and I've only ever spoken about it once, and this one I have actually seen on other channels. It's so worth it. Look at this art style. Enemies are amazing. Someone's range, the other guy's got a hammer. Then you get locked in these rooms and they all come in from columns. A little bit like that original Super Mario Brothers game. Our journey of obscurity ends with Wattam. What an incredible piece of gaming design. This is like an open world sort of object puzzle game. The stories are embedded in the characters. The weird quirkiness will keep you smiling for hours. It's one of our faves when we got it back. I think it was 2019, and it just doesn't get seen by myself on the internet much. No channels really get involved in this, and the stuff you can do, the toilet jokes that are there is bottomless with amusement. Most of these games were pulled from my 5 more playlists, so I'll put the link in the description. I have been Couch Coop. I will see you down there.
Do you want me to slice you open like I did your friend? Shut the fuck up! Okay? I'm the one with the fucking dick.
And high heels. I like high heels.
Oh